Most directors think whistleblowers are disgruntled employees. That belief is about to catch you out, because HMRC whistleblower rules don't just target fraud anymore, they target inconsistencies. And in 2026, HMRC doesn't need you to be honest to investigate you. They just need someone else to notice something that doesn't quite look right. And over the last 12 to 18 months, HMRC has quietly expanded how this information is collected, prioritised, and most importantly acted on. It's not about encouraging snitching, it's about feeding HMRC's risk scoring systems with human intelligence. And what I'm seeing is this: whistleblower reports are no longer treated as isolated tips. They're used as triggers and they open the door. And here's the bit that most directors don't like hearing. The whistleblower doesn't need to be right. If the story aligns with the data profile, HMRC may investigate anyway. It's not about guilt, it's now about risk. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you what HMRC whistleblower rules actually are, what's changed, who typically becomes a whistleblower, what triggers an investigation, and how directors can protect themselves before this ever lands on the desk. So what does HMRC mean by whistleblower? Let's clear some up. It's not a fired employee, a bitter ex-business partner, or somebody reporting fraud. HMRC defines whistleblowers far more broadly, okay? So who can trigger a whistleblower report? Well, of course, it could be someone who works for you, current or former. Could be a contractor. Could be a bookkeeper or a member of your finance team. Could be an accountant who's perhaps disengaged with you, or business partners, maybe suppliers, maybe even customers, competitors, an ex-spouse in a divorce situation. It's basically anyone who has seen your numbers, heard you talk, has access to information, or thinks something doesn't quite add up here. Most whistleblowers wouldn't class themselves as whistleblowers either. They think they're protecting themselves, they're explaining the situation, or they're just answering a question honestly. Now, what's changed in HMRC's whistleblower rules? And this is a key section. Whistleblower reports now feed risk scoring directly. So historically, someone would say something to HMRC and it sat in a queue. They'd need corroboration. They were slow to act. And now the tips are fed into data models that HMRC are using. They're cross-checked instantly and they raise risk scores immediately. So a tip doesn't start an audit. A tip raises your risk profile. And HMRC don't necessarily look for proof first. And this is going to catch a lot of people off guard. They don't need to prove wrongdoing anymore. They ask, does the story we're hearing fit the data? Does this align with anomalies that we already see? And if yes, they're going to investigate. Now, anonymous reports are treated as credible triggers. They no longer discount an anonymous tip. Why? Because, anonymity, it increases the volumes of these tips. It increases the honesty and it reduces the retaliation risk. So HMRC, they don't need names anymore. They want patterns. And what whistleblowers actually report, and this is where a lot of people get surprised, it's not that John's committing fraud. It's things like, listen, this guy's lifestyle is crazy, but his income's very little. It's like he takes money out of the account whenever he wants, but doesn't pay, doesn't declare it on his self-assessment return. They pay some people off the books. They avoid PAYE. They do loads of cash jobs. They delay that on purpose. They always claim refunds. They've closed loads and loads of different companies and started them doing the same thing, leaving loads of debts behind. Now, none of these require evidence. They just need to match your data footprint. Now, what happens after a whistleblower makes a tip off? And this is where a lot of people misunderstand the process. HMRC doesn't call you and say someone has reported you. Instead, they might quietly review your records, cross-reference things, re-score your risk, and decide the best entry point. And how an investigation usually starts is a routine VAT check, PAYE compliance review, corporation tax inquiry, information notice. The whistleblower's invisible now, but the investigation's real. And the trap that directors fall into is they respond too casually, they overshare, they try to explain, they contradict earlier filings. And one small consistency can turn a narrow check into a full inquiry. Now, this is why I think a lot of innocent directors still get caught out. Like, most directors caught up in this stuff are not criminals, they're just sloppy. They're informal, they're disorganised, they're under pressure, they mix personal and company finances, they delay tax, they just don't give their accountant the right information to file, they sort of rely on, I'll fix this later. Now, HMRC isn't judging that intent. They assess risk now and recoverability. So you don't necessarily get investigated because you're bad. You're investigated because you look risky. Now, this is what you should be doing to protect yourselves. Step one, assume anything you say will be repeated. If you wouldn't say it in a letter to HMRC, don't say it at all. Step two, keep your numbers tight. Reconcile DLAs, document payments, file on time, try and pay on time, fix inconsistencies. Step three, treat disengagement from an accountant really seriously. You know, if they're getting rid of you, you need to make sure you're tidy. Loose ends become problems. Step four, get advice before you respond. Like, never respond to an HMRC inquiry emotionally or informally. You need to take the appropriate advice. If you've got an issue with an HMRC inquiry, please put your details in the comment section below. One of my team will give you a call. And step five, listen, if the business is failing, act early. Early insolvency advice gives you more options. Delay does the opposite. Now, HMRC's new whistleblower rules aren't about encouraging betrayal. They're about feeding human intelligence into a data-driven enforcement machine. You don't need to be dishonest to be caught. You just need to be inconsistent. Now, if you're a UK director and any of this feels uncomfortably close, you know, directors' loans out of control, tax arrears, HMRC pressure, worried about insolvency, messy records, speak to us first before HMRC starts asking you questions. Now, if you found this video useful, I want you to go and watch this interview that I've done with Salman Anwar. He is an former HMRC investigator, and he lifts the lid on what it was really like to be on the other side looking at you. Thanks for your time. Chris Worden, Director First.